Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Chelsea Fanzone. My name is Lord Calmus. I will be your host for this lovely little show. And let us begin with introducing our two other members that are going to be in the show with me. Vince, would you please do me a pleasure of you introducing yourself?
All right, Vince, popularly known as Vince Blue Footy on Twitter. I'm from Nigeria. I'm part of the team for Chelsea Fanzone.
Josh?
Yeah, my name is Josh. I'm from London. I'm a season ticket holder at Stamford Bridge. Follow Chelsea home and away, and hopefully be following them in Europe as well next season.
Very nice. All right, lads. So first thing we're going to be talking today about is the Arsenal game.
I thought we played well. It's a good start to pre-season. Obviously, we've won the first couple of games at Bournemouth and at the Emirates today. I thought it was just the main thing is just the players getting minutes of pre-season. Players like Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek really impressed me today. What about you, Vince? Who impressed you?
Hudson-Odoi playing from the left. He usually play right wing back, but he played left wing back today, and he did very, very well. Obviously, we know that he loves playing from the left, but playing from the left as a left wing back, not a left winger, is different. But he really, really impressed me, and right now he's giving Thomas Tuchel a different problem. Like we have already right wing back sorted. Talking about how Spilicueta can play there, Reece James can play there, but left wing back is up for grabs because Alonso is so. We do not know exactly what Alonso is going to do. He wasn't even in the squad at all for the friendly match. So maybe he's thinking maybe I can move Callum Hudson-Odoi to the left, and he did very, very well. So if that was a kind of an experiment, it paid very well.
Would you read too much into that about Alonso not being in the squad? Would you think that he's potentially on his bike out the club, or do you think that potentially? I mean, I've heard a couple of rumours from a couple of people I know that he may have tested positive for COVID-19, but they aren't official just yet, so it could just be rumours. However, it's very strange because obviously we're very linked with Koundé from Seville. Seville have been linked in the past with Alonso, so hopefully, or I'm hoping at least, that we're including potentially Alonso in the deal. What do you think, Victor?
So from what I've seen on Twitter, etc., is that it's a very big possibility that he is actually being thrown into that deal. So they are looking for a left back, Seville, because they were interested in Emerson, but they weren't interested in us for how much we wanted Emerson and how much we rated Emerson money-wise. So, but if you look at it, Alonso is a better version of Emerson, at least in my opinion.
Alonso's not a fullback though; he's a wing back. So if Seville are going to play like wing backs,
but he can play
makes
fullback
perfectly sense.
Well. Yeah, he can play fullback well, though. But he's useless in that position. But let's not say that. Let's not say that to Seville. Seville, if you're listening, Alonso is perfect. He's brilliant. He's a great left back. Just take it, please. But generally, I think he might be part of Koundé deal because we didn't hear anything about it. Zuma apparently might be going to West Ham. And from what I've understood is Zuma's not really keen on going to Seville.
How did you think Zuma played today?
He played really well. He played better than Rudiger. Rudiger had a nightmare first half. He was poor.
That's expected because Rudiger just had 3 days training and Zuma has been there for a weekend. Yeah, so that's expected. Right. So when you have to consider those things.
That is true.
Those players that are coming in, most of them didn't play that well, apart from Havertz. But even Havertz wasn't even involved in the game a lot. He was just flashes here and there. The energy won't be there. It's just 3 days training. So from maybe next match on Wednesday, you will start seeing the best of those players coming in. Kante, Havertz, Penna, and Rudiger. And then I think it will be players will start getting better from here, upwards, because training is everything. You don't just go to holiday for 3 weeks and come back and start firing from all cylinders.
I agree.
All cylinders. It's not possible. It's expected that Rudiger will be a little bit rusty, and Zuma a little bit better. But we know if when both of them are very, very fit, Rudiger is miles better than Zuma.
I agree with you. Again, as I said, That is true. I agree with you that the fact that they were away for such a long time and then they just came back, it's probably going to take them a little bit to get used to again. What you said about Havertz is that he was in flashes here and there. That's how Havertz plays. If you look at the Euros for Germany, 90% of the times he was invisible, and then bang, he's in the 16-yard box scoring goal.
It comes to life, yeah.
Always like that. That's the style of play he has. The person you could compare Havertz to is, for example, Mesut Ozil. I would compare him very much to that, but with the fact that he can actually finish. He's brave enough to take a shot. One other person, as you mentioned, Dusan Sterling, he did that clearance. I don't know against who it was, because I was watching.
Aubameyang, I think it was.
It was Aubameyang. Bloody hell.
It might have been.
Magnificent the way he took the ball off him. It was so good. I really
I remember that, yeah.
Like, Livramento, as much as I would love for him to be involved in the team, Dusan Sterling, look.
I think he's actually just gone on loan somewhere.
He hasn't, no.
No, Livramento, he could stay. He could stay. You know, there is possibility that that Sterling could stay. There is huge possibility because he can play right wing back and he can play right
center back, yeah. Seems to be losing Vince a little bit.
So if he doesn't want to go out on loan, I think Tuchel will easily say you can stay because he's very useful.
Well, I agree with you. I think Dusan Sterling would be very useful. Livramento, I've never seen him really play. I know he's a talent, but I've never seen him really play.
Just jumping back in today's game, what did you think of Ross Barkley when he come on? Because he's another one who potentially will be out the door.
I can't stand
if we can get a decent offer. I mean, I can't stand the geezer either, to be honest.
I can't stand him.
Yeah, but it's something you've got to talk about. He come on.
He was invisible. Invisible. Drinkwater play better than him. Drinkwater play better than him.
I've actually seen a few people on Twitter who actually want Drinkwater to stay. Like, are they off their fucking mind?
Yeah, but it makes sense. Listen, there is a reason. You have to put everything in perspective. You're not just like we know Drinkwater hasn't made it at Chelsea because of that. Drinkwater is gone and all that. No, everything, there is context to everything that you have to think and talk about. I have to put everything together. First and foremost, he wasn't a bad player coming from Leicester to Chelsea. He wasn't. And it was obvious that after the first season at Chelsea, he started having issues, family issues. And reason why I don't know him as a person, but from his countenance and his actions and behaviors, you could see that he's struggling mentally. And professional sports, especially football, you cannot be yourself 100% if you are having mental issues like, dealing with family and all that and personal problems and all that. That guy was depressed for basically 2 years. So it wasn't easy for him, to get those things aside and concentrate on playing football. If you go back to somebody like Deco, after first season at Chelsea, Deco was having family issues in Brazil, and he said he couldn't play football. He was not concentrating. He wasn't giving his best for Chelsea. He mentioned that himself. And he had to terminate his contract.
Pause. You cannot compare Deco and Drinkwater. That's like comparing Ronaldo.
No, I'm giving you an example. No, understand where I'm coming from. I'm giving you an example. He didn't play that well. In first season at Chelsea, he was like, here and there, good performances here and there. And second season, he said he's going back to Brazil because of the issues he was having. I'm giving you as an example. That if a player has that kind of issue, he hardly concentrates, on playing football. But all the same, I think Drinkwater had that issue. But that does not mean that Drinkwater cannot recover his form. He stayed 31. 31 is not the end of a footballer's career. I think he can play.
I do think it's the end of his Chelsea. I think it's the end of his Chelsea career, though. I think when you look at the players who've actually got in that position, you've got Jorginho, who had a brilliant Euro, is one of the best midfielders in the world at the moment, in my opinion. You got Kante, Kovacic, Loftus-Cheek potentially, potentially someone like Rice or Tchouameni coming in. So
no, that's where you get it. That's where you get it wrong, George. That's where you get it wrong, George. Drinkwater is not a box to box, so he does not compete with Kante or Loftus-Cheek. He doesn't. He's only competing with Jorginho. And as
I'm just saying the position players we've got in that position already.
No, but it's not the same position. It's not the same position. We are playing two players in midfield, in defensive midfield, but one is always more advanced because we are playing three at the back. And because of that, we can't pin two defensive players, horizontally, positionally, we can't. One has to be advanced. And the advanced ones, the box balls are just Kovacic, Kante, and now Loftus-Cheek. And we only have one player who can play deep as a number 6 in that team. That's Jorginho. Not even Kante. Kante can link passes. The same thing with Kovacic. First half today, we had issues moving the ball in between the lines because Kovacic couldn't move well like Jorginho. He was pinning himself in positions that was difficult for him to move away or collect the ball and pass. It was easier for Arsenal to mark him out because he wasn't moving well. It takes specialists to be able to play that position. And Drinkwater played it very, very well against Bournemouth.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm
talking
today, about. That's why I say it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. In that particular team, in our team currently, if we do not buy a DM, another DM that can play as an anchor, that can play as a number 6, I mentioned that in that tweet. If we do not buy that DM, then we have to think about keeping Drinkwater, because apart from him, the other 3 players that I mentioned, Kante, Loftus-Cheek, and Kovacic, can play that position very well. And we don't have Gilmore anymore. He's on loan. Yep. So if Drinkwater moves now and we don't buy a number 6 and Jorginho gets injured, we are in trouble.
Yeah, I agree.
Moving the ball.
I understand where you're coming from, but I do think if you look at the market from what Chelsea are currently trying to actively do, the positions we link with is a centre back, a holding midfielder, and a number 9. That CDM which we're looking at the moment is potentially Declan Rice being Chelsea's number 1 target, and the backup being Tchouaméni from Monaco. If we sign one of the 2 of them, for me, Drinkwater, see you later, mate.
No, I agree with you. This is why I wasn't very happy that we actually let Conor Gallagher go on loan, because Gallagher might have not played brilliantly that game against Bournemouth, but with Gallagher in the team, you can then move either Jorginho or Kante into that position and have Gallagher there on the left, who can be a little bit more forward, because he's really good going forward, Gallagher. Like, he's not a defensive player. He is not a defensive player. I remember watching him last year when they were playing Liverpool. He was destroying that Liverpool midfield, Gallagher. He was playing really, really well. If he plays a little bit forward, he's top young player.
He's a top young player, but what you've just said is he needs experience. I think him going to Crystal Palace on loan is brilliant. Like, he's going to get Premier League experience. Patrick Vieira, no doubt. Yeah, no, but with Patrick Vieira, like, they're a better team than where he was playing last year. So no doubt it's a brilliant loan for me. Like, I think that he wouldn't be in Chelsea's first team. He wouldn't be getting regular first team,
but he would be a backup.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but as a young player like Gilmore, he realised he's not going to get in Chelsea's first team week in, week out. So the best thing for him is to go on loan, get experience, come back, and hopefully with a bit of luck, he would have developed a little bit more and he'll be ready to come to Chelsea's first team. I think that's what the club are trying to actively do with these young players. I think the only one who hasn't had a loan spell is Hudson-Odoi, which I do think potentially he could have benefited from one. But if you look at Mason Mount, an example, he's had 2 loan spells, one at Vitesse, one at Derby, and he come back to Chelsea, probably, in my opinion, Chelsea's best young player, along with Reece James. And Reece James, again, another one, a prime example. He's had a loan spell at Wigan. He come back a better player because he had the experience. He had a full season playing. And because he had the full season, he's obviously got the experience under his belt to come back to Chelsea, a top club, a massive club, to perform. So I think Gallagher going on loan, he needs to be looking at them 2 players and thinking, yeah, there is potential to break into the first team if I play well, keep developing, because no doubt he's got the potential, he's got the ability, he just needs game time.
Here's the thing that I also see it in that is the issue I see with that, and that is the fact that how do I explain this? Mason Mount and Reece James would have not broken into the first team if it wasn't for Lampard, who was giving and pushing the youngsters. Same with Gilmore. You would not have heard the word Gilmore, if it wasn't for Frank Lampard pushing them into the team. Now, Thomas Tuchel, everyone says, oh, you got to push the youngsters here, you got to push the youngsters here. We are having a huge exodus of young players, which means that young players are obviously being told they're not going to be given a chance at the first team. Now, I'm not going to say anything against Thomas Tuchel. I'm just saying, I think that we need to find a new pathway for the youngsters, because Mason Mount and Reece James came into that team and they were starters, both of them. I think Reece James was a little bit later as a starter, but Mason Mount was from like day dot. He was a starter. Like day dot of the Frank Lampard era, he was a starter. I remember, I think it was against Leicester, his first game at home. We were at home against Leicester, and he snatched that ball off Ndidi and smacked it into the bottom right corner, bottom left corner. I can't remember.
It's a prime example of what you've just said. You look at players like Abraham and Tomori, and Mark Gahey, who's just left on a permanent as well. Are they really good enough for the first team?
Yes.
I mean, are they?
Have you seen where he in the friendly a few days ago where he played?
Yeah.
Holy Mother of God.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying he's not a bad player, but I think he needs more experience to jump into Chelsea's first team.
I think that personally, Guehi, could have been a huge addition to our defensive line. He's better than Malang Sarr. He's better than Sarr.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
10 times better.
Yeah, he's better than Sarr from what I've seen. So we are playing three at the back, and he's fantastic playing as left centre back. Most times three at the back covers defenders that have one or two issues or problems that they find it difficult to deal with. For instance, if you put Christensen in the middle of back three, he becomes a different animal. You will not even see a mistake from him. So yeah. I think that Guehi, despite being a young person, a young star, if he plays a three at the back, at the left for us, with Silva in the middle, directing him, you will notice that he's still a young player.
You wouldn't spend 60 million for Conde now.
I think that he would have been a very good player for us, but it was his decision to leave even before he came back to Chelsea during preseason. Remember, he didn't even have 1 day of preseason under Thomas Tuchel, which means that he made that decision a long time ago to leave Chelsea this summer. So nothing in the club or Thomas Tuchel could have done about that. So it is what it is. But if you talk about being ready for Chelsea, if he could play for Chelsea, I think that he can.
Yep, I think both him, Tomori especially. I was so sad that we saw Tomori. I knew it was coming. I remember talking in my Discord with a few of my friends that I play Football Manager with, and I remember talking with them, and I was like, please God, let AC Milan not be able to qualify for Champions League. Because I think it was like 2 or 3 points between them and Juventus. And then at the end, I think Napoli was the ones that bottled it, and they were the ones that ended up out of the Champions League, while both Juventus and Milan got into the Champions League. And I remember watching it, I was like, please God, just let them drop points, let them fall out of the Champions League, because then they would not be able to buy Tomori. Because AC Milan would not have had the money then. Because I rate Tomori so highly. I think if potential wise, Chelsea youth player that came out of our academy in the last 10 or so years, I would put Mason Mount at the top of that list. He is by a country mile the best one. Ugbo after him. I don't know if you saw Ugbo. He made his debut for Chelsea a few days ago. He's extremely talented, great striker. He played in Belgium last year. I watched a couple of games. He's a monster if given a chance, and apparently he's leaving us as well. I'm surprised he hasn't left yet, and he was given a chance last game, so maybe. After that, I would say Reece James. Reece James I would put Reece James and Ugbo on the same level, potential-wise. Then I would say Tomori and Guehi right below that.
No, Tammy Abraham.
Tammy Abraham? I don't rate Tammy Abraham.
I think he's going to leave Chelsea this summer, and just going to his performance today, I don't know about you, what you guys thought, but he missed about 3 or 4 really good opportunities. There was one in the first half I think it was Pulisic, or I'm not sure who played it into him, but he had like not an open goal, but he had a sitter. It literally come to him on the penalty box, and he couldn't sort his feet out. And obviously he just miskicked the ball.
Always issue with him.
Like his goal, anyone would have scored that.
Man can't finish his.
Yeah, Batshuayi actually played better, I thought, in the short cameo he had than Tammy Abraham did. I'm not hating on Tammy Abraham because I like him, but I don't think he's good enough to be leading the line for Chelsea.
I agree. 100% agree with you.
The thing with Tammy is, I think that he has the qualities of a good striker, but he's not polished enough. Let me use that word, polished. So, but what I mean by that is, everything that he does it at 70%. He hasn't reached. He is not reaching 90% in almost all the qualities that he has. Like, pressing, running, channels, finishing, everything is still there, average. So, but those things are things that he can improve on in a year or two. I guarantee you, in a year or two, it will be a different player, a different monster. Reason is because everything that you need in a striker, he has them, but not at the elite level. But those things are things that he can improve on. So for now, right now, he can hold up play very well. And at times he's struggling with balance. He can recover that as he grows. And, let me give you a prime example. Lukaku, it was just like Tammy Abraham not long ago. Sorting his feet, not controlling the ball and all that. Those things are the basics. And once you have them, you can work on them. It's just a matter of time. But the thing with Chelsea is Chelsea are one of the biggest clubs in the world. We don't have time to give players to nurture themselves, to nurture them. Whatever it is, we don't have 2 or 3 years to give you, to get better. And you can stay on the bench and get better. So it is what it is. But he is a good player, and he can become even a better player tomorrow. He can become one of the best strikers in the Premier League, tomorrow. So it's what it is. But for now, he's not a Chelsea material.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one to put it, I think, yeah.
My worry is, at this moment in time, other than Broya and Werner, who do we have up top? Because if
that comes to my next point, actually.
We don't have.
This comes to my next point. If you get rid of Abraham, you need to bring in a new number 9. For me, at Chelsea right now, there's not many 2 positions I think we need to really strengthen. I think we've got a very strong squad, not like a brilliant squad, I don't think, but we've got a strong squad. If you bring Erling Haaland in, it's obviously the player Chelsea are trying to sign. Whether the deal will happen or not, who knows at this current moment from when we're recording. But if you can't bring Haaland in, I don't think you should bring anyone else in, because if you can't bring Lukaku in or Haaland, there's no point bringing another BTEC Morata in and wasting 50 million.
Yeah.
Like, you might as well wait next summer and try and bring Haaland in then. But if you think about it, you've got Werner, Havertz and Broga. I think between the 3 of them, if say Werner got injured, you could probably play Havertz down the middle, and then you still got, if you're playing the 3-4-3, you can put Pulisic and Ziyech, or Pulisic and Mount and Ziyech, one of the 3. Even Hudson-Odoi you can chuck in the 2 sort of inverted forward roles. So I think you've still got enough players and enough quality in the positions, what I've just said, to, if you don't sign a top striker. But again, that's very hypothetical at this current moment. We don't know what's currently going to be happening. I'm sure there's players we're trying to actively sign who we're not aware of at the moment. Chelsea, as we all know, they try and keep their stuff very private and close to their chest at the moment. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a very busy 30 days left in the market.
Yeah, I hope it is. Here's the thing when I look at the striker position. If we cannot get Haaland, okay? And we apparently, from what I've understand, Lukaku said also no to us, even though Inter were tempted to accept the 130 million we put in for them. And who do you go for? Martinez. If you're buying Martinez from Inter, who apparently is for sale, and Arsenal interested in him, if you want to buy Martinez, you're basically buying Timo Werner 2.0. That's all you're buying. Timo Werner 2.0. He needs a striker, a big striker like Lukaku, next to him to be effective. Same way that Timo Werner was effective when he was at RB Leipzig. He had a big striker right next to him who helped him score goals. That's what Timo Werner needs.
For me, you've got to break the bank for Haaland, and the reason why you've got to do it, you're champions of Europe. So the excuse is not you don't want to sign for Chelsea because you're not good enough, or we've just won the Champions League. So that excuse and that point is disregarded. You need a big statement signing when you just win the Champions League. Look how many times we've seen Real Madrid do it in the past, like get a new Galactico in once they've won a big European trophy. For me, if you bring Haaland in and you spend 150 million or more even on him, you're making a massive statement to the rest of Europe because you're saying, okay, we've just got the next big player in Europe. We've just spent a big amount of money. Let's go win the Premier League next year and let's try and compete in the Champions League again at the highest level. So for me, it would make so much sense because you're putting a warning sign out to every other team that Chelsea mean business.
Yeah, I agree with you. Right.
Like if you look at City, if they get Kane and Grealish, we need a statement signing. Like they're the team who've just lost the European Cup and they might be signing 2 top players. Like we need to be doing that. We've just won the Champions League.
Shall we wrap it up then, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed today's video. Leave a comment as well, your thoughts and opinions. And make sure you subscribe to Chelsea Fanzone. We're trying to reach 100 subscribers.
And make sure to give everybody who was participating in this podcast a follow. You will find their @ right below their little screen here. Other than that, we'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.